that can you hear me now? Yeah, can you all hear me? Okoli Blessing, can you hear me?
I can hear you, ma.
I hope our network is not going to be acting out on us this evening. Okay, that's good. If you can hear me, that's good. Today we will be discussing a different type of question. Yes, they can hear me. That's good. Thank you very much for confirming that you can hear me. We've been talking about writing task 2, and we've discussed the things that we should expect in writing task 2. We've been talking about the types of questions, and we've been discussing them. Today, we are going to be discussing writing task 2, a different form of question, which is the 2-question essay. We talked about the fact that writing task 2 is made up of different types of questions that you will find, and we had grouped them and said that we have the opinion essays, the both sides and opinion, and then the 2-question essay. Opinion essays we have discussed and have seen samples. If you are watching for the first time, you can go to our YouTube page and then you find it there. We've also discussed both sides and opinion, and we've had questions as well to, correct our understanding and, of course, check what we know about this so that we are sure that we're on the same page, or at least, that we do understand what we are doing in this house. So today we'll be talking about writing task 2, 2-question essay. 2-question essay. One common factor to all of the writing tasks, as we usually go over before we move on to the specific work for the day, is the fact that we've got band descriptors. Okay, and before then, writing task 2 is the type that is expecting you to write in an academic style where you are expected to have not less than 250 words. That's task 2, not less than 250 words. And I advise that you should not write too many words. Don't go beyond 280, maximum 300, maximum when you can't control it. But if you can, 280 words, it's perfectly fine. And every one of these tasks has to be completed within 40 minutes. So all of your writing, if you can time yourself and, practice, rehearse, so you get used to it, spend not more than 35 minutes on your writing as you rehearse and practice so that you have 5 minutes to do corrections, okay? You have 5 minutes to do all of your corrections and that's it. Then in the writing task 2, we have what your examiners will be rating you on that we call band descriptors. And these band descriptors, there are 4 of them. We have task completion or achievement or response. Then we have coherence and cohesion. and we have lexical resource, and then we have grammatical range and accuracy. All right. So for task achievement, we said that it's expecting you to complete the question. All right. To complete the question, really, you need to finish everything about the question. You should satisfy all of the requirements. Here you cover every aspect of the question. You have written no less than 250 words. Okay. And if you gave points, you should have been able to develop your points with relevant examples. That's what your task achievement is talking about. And then when we talk about coherence and cohesion, it has to do with the flow of work, all right? How you sequence your information and your ideas logically, how you use a range of cohesive devices for appropriate paragraphing and sentencing and all of that, and then you have a clear progression. There's a flow between your work. You move from point A to B to C to D and like that till the end of your work. And then avoiding unnecessary repetition of words. In terms of lexical resource, I did mention that this particular component accesses your vocabulary really in terms of error and how well you can use advanced language to present your ideas. What does this mean? It means that you are going to use, vocabularies that allow you to have some flexibility and precision. And then you use less common vocabularies as writing style. Say grammatical range and accuracy, we are talking about really. I advised us that we should make more use of the simple and the complex sentences. And for you to have complex sentences, you bring in your lexical resource, cohesive devices, okay? Cohesive that explain, that you're moving from one point to the other. Then you produce error-free sentences where your English makes sense grammatically, avoiding grammatical error as much as possible and checking your punctuations to ensure that they are correct. Generally, there's a structure for the writing task too, where I have explained earlier on that you have 4 paragraphs all in all, where you have an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. That's one difference between writing task 1 and writing task 2. An introduction, and what are the components of your introduction. We did say that your introduction for writing task 1 is different from writing task 2. In writing task 2, you are expected to have like a rephrase of your question prompt and then your specific statement, which is a general statement and a specific statement. The general statement is a rephrase, okay? It's a rephrase of the question prompt that you were given. And the specific statement is the assignment that you are expected to carry out or what the examiner is asking you to do, okay? Now, we also have the body paragraphs. There's the first and the second body paragraphs. The content of the first and second body paragraph is dependent on the kind of question that you are asked. The way you will write a body paragraph for an opinion essay is not the same with a both side and opinion. And it's not going to be the same at all for a 2-question essay. That's where the difference come in. And then your conclusion generally is like a summary of all what you have been saying in your body paragraphs. There's a difference between your conclusion for an opinion essay and a both side and opinion and a 2-question essay. For a both side and an opinion essay, in the body paragraphs, keep your opinion away. And then it's at the end of the day, that's your conclusion, sorry. Your conclusion is when you are going to be talking about your opinion for a both side and an opinion essay. But for a for an opinion essay, you will be discussing your points in your first body paragraph, and in the second body paragraph, you will have one of your points and then a concession. While in a both side and an opinion essay, the body paragraph will depend on the question that you are asked and the task that is before you. Tonight, we are going to be talking about a two-question essay, all right? A two-question essay is what we will be talking about tonight. This type of question is known as problem and solution as well. So when you hear them say problem and solution or advantage and disadvantages, okay? Although I personally do not accept this as maybe problem and solution, this is because all the questions in two-question essay, they are not always a problem and a solution. Sometimes it's a cause and effect, so it depends. That's why we have decided to call it a two-question essay. I'm more comfortable with the name two-question essay because it's asking you to do two things. All right. So it's not always it's a problem solution. There are problem solutions that are two-question essay, yes, but the general name for them is called a two-question essay. This type of question is testing your ability to discuss two aspects of an issue, and to have a good band, you must answer both questions very well. This means that you should respond to each of the questions equally. You must have equal number of points for the two sides, okay, for the two questions that you have been asked. Two-question essays, they can include questions that ask you of what problem does this cause? That's one side. And another, on the other side, will say, what are some potential solutions? So problems and solution. Another one will ask you whether you agree or disagree. That's fine. Then what are some solutions? So if you agree, what are the solutions? If you disagree, what are the solutions? So for this kind of question, on the first part, you are going to be writing your point why you agree or disagree. Okay. So what do you do? How do you handle a two-question essay? How do you go about it? Just like the other types of questions that we have explained earlier on, there are steps that you need to follow. Number one is that you need to analyze the task. You need to know what kind of question this is, and then you should note the two sides that you are discussing. Then you go ahead and plan your essay. How do you plan your essay? You underline keywords and you note down your useful synonyms. We keep talking about synonyms and all. Synonyms are words that you can use to replace each other without changing the meaning of the statement. Synonyms, when you use them in your writing, it helps you to have like an in-depth explanation, and it shows that you understand what you are saying. Your examiner will understand that you do know what you are saying about your essay. Now you need to also decide what kind of response that is required of you, and then you brainstorm for your answers, brainstorm for your key points, okay, and then go ahead and answer. You need to decide on the kind of structure that you are going to be using really. And what is the structure? What is the structure? The structure is what? Introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and the conclusion. Remember all the points about how you introduce your task. The introduction is your general statement paraphrased and your specific statement. So for this kind of question where you have maybe advantages and disadvantages, this essay will be discussing the advantages and disadvantages. So what will be other words that can replace advantages and disadvantages? Maybe merits and demerits, all right? The goods and the bads of this particular thing, this particular whatever the question is asking you. That's what your specific essay will look, specific statement will look like. But your general statement will be the paraphrase, okay, a rephrase of the question prompt. Do we understand? Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question? Can you all hear me? Okay. If you can hear me, you need to say you can hear me. And why are all the videos gone?
I can hear you, ma.
Why can I not see anyone? Mm. Why are all the videos gone off? So, okay, you can hear me and you don't have any questions, right? If you don't have any questions, it means that the class is well understood and we can progress with our assignment for the day. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
Who is this?
What's
You
your
see
bed?
what? What's your bed? Please. I don't want to disturb us. I want to sleep. Oh, Pastor, what you doing? To your bed, the two of you.
Looks like the network is really misbehaving this evening. Anyway, so we are back now. You are going to be doing a class work, and the question says, you can write the use of illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine the use of illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine are becoming more and more common. The use of illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine are becoming more and more common. I've just sent it. Okay, so they have it as a chart. Okay, go ahead and write. Remember the rules? Introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and then a conclusion. Now, in this kind of essay, like I tried to explain to us, for your introduction, you have to have a paraphrase of this question prompt and then your specific statement. The specific statement in this one is telling you the problems associated with drug abuse and the possible solution. That is your specific statement. And in your first body paragraph, you are going to be talking about the problems that are associated with drug abuse. These problems associated with drug abuse is the first part of this question. The second part is where you are going to profile solution. So body paragraph 1 is talking about problems associated with drug abuse, and the body paragraph 2 is talking about the solution to these problems that you have identified in the first body paragraph. And your conclusion, you are going to be talking about the problem and the solution, just a brief, conclusion, a brief summary of the problem and the possible solution. That's what your conclusion Hello, everyone. It's just unfortunate. I don't know what's happening. My network just went off on its own. I hope you can hear me. Have we started writing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Keep writing. Good. Okay, so remember to time yourself. Remember to write the number of words. If you are watching us on YouTube, the question, let me see if I can still. I'm going to say out the question so you can also participate. Okay. Just give me a second. Let me open it. The use of illegal drugs, such as heroin and cocaine, are becoming more and more common in many countries. Let me see if I can type it to you. The use of illegal drugs, such as heroin and cocaine, are becoming heroin and cocaine are becoming more and more common in many countries. What are some of the problems associated with drug abuse, and what are the possible solutions? Okay, I've just typed it as a comment to YouTube, and I think I've also sent it to the Facebook Live that is ongoing. So if you're interested in participating in the class, you should be able to see the question and go ahead with your writing, okay? Okay, I've just typed it as a comment to YouTube, and I think I've also sent When it is 8:45, we should all have finished writing. I know the time is not very accurate because of the on and off, but I mean, there's much allowance enough to cover for all of the time that we lost while trying to connect and reconnect. Can someone be kind enough to post the question? If you have it, you can copy it. I think you should be able to find it, the person that sent that chat. If you check the chats before you will find that there's a chat about the question that I had written already. It's there. You'll find the chat and you can see the question. We're writing about drug abuse, and it's a 2-question essay. We have discussed that before you came in, unfortunately. So yeah, that's it. Someone has sent it in for you. So you can go ahead and write it now. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Sandra, blessing, Grace. And that's all. Okay, everyone, can you hear me? Yeah. So 3 people have so 5. Okay. The count is coming up. Okay, so we're at 6 now. Busola, how many words did you write? There's no summary of your work. You didn't tell us how many words, neither did you state the time that you spent in writing days. Oyenike, the same thing with you as well. Well, just to let you know that in the course of practicing here, we have a rule that when you write, you let us know or you tell us how many minutes you spent and your word count so that we can compare, okay? That will help you to practice within range. All right. Okay, so I'm waiting. All in all, I've seen, I think I like what I'm seeing, but it's not complete. I'm not completely in love with what you have written so far, but we will get to do some corrections, okay? So I'll start from the order in which you posted the work. The rate at which illicit drugs are being consumed is becoming alarming in more nations. This essay will discuss the challenge manifesting from heroin and cocaine use. It will further discuss the ways of solving the problems. Grammatical range and accuracy. The rate at which illicit drugs are being consumed is wrong. It's consumed. Simple. Okay? And you can't just say the rate. You can just tell us that there is an increase. Because they say it's more and more, isn't it? Okay, the consumption of illicit drug is on the increase in many nations. If you say something like that, it makes more meaning. It's more precise and it is more correct. All right? Then you can go ahead with your specific statement. Excuse me. This essay will discuss the challenges manifesting from, you are speaking, I don't know, you are speaking like you're just getting words. You're not making sense directly. Okay, you're going about your sentence and it's not really making sense. This essay will discuss the challenges heroin and cocaine use. The challenges. You would have seen that these are words that can take the place of drug abuse without changing the meaning. All right, so this essay will discuss these challenges and profile ways of solving the problems. It will further discuss and will further discuss. There's no further more there. Don't put that more, it's not correct, okay? It will further discuss the ways of solving the problems. All right. So this essay will identify the issues, challenges, problems, okay, the disadvantages, okay, and then it will further discuss the ways of solving them, ways of solving the problems that you have identified. Unauthorized drug consumption cuts across all ages. Full stop. Learn to know when your punctuation marks come in. Your although is a capital letter when you want to continue. Although it is more common among youths, it is seen more. So it is more among the youth. It is seen more among the youths. Okay. Then you continue. Learn to put your punctuations in the appropriate places so that your marks for your grammatical range and accuracy for lexical resource will not be cut short. All right. So you are now giving me the reasons. I think I read this and I identified. Let me see. What did I? You are giving the reasons now. Unauthorized consumption of drugs, which is drug abuse, cuts across all ages. And it is more among the youth, which is a way to start. It's fine to start your statement that way. I'm not against that opening statement, okay? Now you are telling me the problem, the effects, which includes health breakdown, and crimes. Health breakdown, what kind of health breakdown? What is the specific health breakdown? If you further go ahead to explain it, I think it's more specific and it shows that you understand exactly what you're saying. And crimes, how does it increase crime rate? Okay, health breakdown, wow, maybe liver cirrhosis, maybe some digestive disorders, maybe dependency on these medications. It affects their mental health, so it's health breakdown, which is fine, but you need to tell me what specific health breakdown you're talking about here. That will save you this long English that you're writing, just trying to get more words. Okay. And stay cardiac arrest please stick to one thing so that you can discuss one particular thing, okay? If you give up to 4 reasons here, then you must give 4 solutions. That's my own way of understanding. That's the way I understand this. So you need to give, I told us that at least 2 points in each paragraph. So if you have 3 points, that's good, but you profile the solution to those points, okay? Remember, I told you from the beginning that for you to score a good mark in a 2-question essay, you need to write for both sides equally. And you need to write extensively for both of them. Don't say I have 3 points here and you explain better in one side and you don't explain the other side. If you just give your points without explaining or developing your points, you stand the chance of getting your marks reduced. I think this person's write-up just needs some grammar corrections and putting some things in the right places. For instance, a close friend who depends on drugs before he'll be able to sleep has sold virtually all he has. So what has this done? This is more or less like an economic effect now because he's become poor, isn't it? He's become poor from selling all of his things. He's now dependent on drugs. His mental health has been affected. Okay, now there is insomnia and all of that, which is part of the health issues that we're talking about. His brain is being overworked at the end of the day. So you're talking about economic and health challenges, self-made that drug abuse can cause. All right. Now, I expect that your solution should be for these problems that you have identified. Remember, the question says that what are some of the problem solutions? Possible solutions to this problem. If you don't identify a problem, you can't profile a solution to it. So let your problems be in line with your solution. Let your solution be for the problems that you have identified. Anywhere you see a problem and solution or a cause and effect kind of essay, a 2-question essay generally, and it has to do with talking about the merits or advantages and disadvantages. When you are talking about one side, make sure you say something that is connected to that one side on the other side. That way your write-up is more in line, is more organized, and you can score better marks. And then it's easier for you as you are writing in it because you are writing like more of something for what you have already written. As your brain is thinking about the problem, it's thinking about the solution as well. So when you identified health challenges as a problem, okay, you talk about self-medication, health challenges as a problem. What are your solutions now? The government should roll out a program. You see, now, to solve this problem, to solve these problems, you have not said one, you have not identified one problem. Who is this person? Blessing. So you have identified more than one problem. So these problems, THESE, problems, the people as well as the government has a role to play. Role as in ROLE, not role as in tissue roll. This role is like the roll call, isn't it? The one they call in the morning on the assembly ground. So we need to be careful with our words. This has to do with what? Our grammar. It has to do with what? Word formation. Using the right words at the right places. If not, it will give it a different meaning. And once there's a different meaning, different from what you wanted to say, it's no longer in line and you stand a chance of losing marks. Has a role to play. So what is this role? Individuals should ensure they accept drugs that are rightly prescribed. But did you talk about drugs that are not rightly prescribed as your problem? Self-medication can scare, okay, that's fine. Drugs that are, so they should adhere to prescription drugs only. Okay. Prescription drugs only. Let's see where your concluding part is because it's gone off now. And well, prescription drugs, and that's why your words are so many, blessing. By the time you cut off some of this, your excess explanation, you see where I wanted you to explain, you're not explaining. Where you're not supposed to explain is where you're giving explanations. When there's a word or a phrase that can cover a particular thing for you, make use of it, because it makes your grammar to be more accurate. All right. So the government should do mass education, which is good, on the effects of heroin and cocaine, and a law, okay, should be enacted and offenders be punished. Offenders should be punished. And you are writing furnished. Is it a typo error? I don't want to believe that. Punishment is different from furnishing. You didn't read that before you send it, right? You're writing in a rush. It does happen in exam situations, sometimes in an attempt to quickly finish your work, because they say if you don't finish your work, your mark for task achievement will be reduced. You now go and be writing nonsense. So that the one that you have written that would have even give you small mark, you now make them to remove the marks again. Yeah, for wrong grammar, wrong spelling of words, wrong use of words. All right. So please check the appropriate words before you use them. They should be punished accordingly. And this will serve as what? As a clue. What? It can't be a clue. A clue is a glimpse into something. It can't be a clue, isn't it? It should serve as a warning. All right. So, yeah, I think I am more concerned with your conclusion. In conclusion, drug abuse should be taught in schools to enlighten. This is still part of your solution. And now you've used it as a conclusion. It's part of your solution. So I want you to conclude this way. When you have this kind of an essay, it's just for you to list points in your conclusion, okay? You list the points in your conclusion. What am I saying? Conclusively, the use of medications inappropriately can cause this and this and this. However, if the government can put laws in place for what? To punish offenders, health education, and all of that, this problem will likely be reduced or solved. Full stop. All right. So if you list the problem, so by the time I have read your first paragraph, which is your introduction, that has told me that you're talking about drug abuse and how it affects people, you are going to be telling me the problems and the solution. I can confidently go to your conclusion and see that the problem of self-medication is maybe health issues like liver cirrhosis, as you have mentioned, poverty, economic effects, and what else? And I'll go and as I'm reading further, I find out that you have said that for health issues, people should stick to prescription drugs only, then that the government should put laws in place to punish offenders, and that health education should be ongoing on the effects so people can avoid them. It means that I may not necessarily need to read all your essay from A1 to A2 to Z before I understand that you know what you are doing. Let your introduction and your conclusion give me a glimpse into what your first and second body paragraphs are. Do you understand? Is anybody understanding me? Yeah? Good. So your conclusion matters a lot. I don't like this conclusion. No, it's very shallow. It's not even, in fact, this conclusion is part of your second body paragraph. Bless you. You are going to write it again and send it to the Telegram group. All right. So let's see the second person. I hope we get to finish these corrections. I mean, not because we are more, but I'm sure that as I'm correcting one, they say what I say to one, I say to all. So in case I don't get to correct your work, don't say she didn't read my work. Oh. Especially those people that are joining us for the first time, or you have not been regular in this class. So you not say she marked my face. She did not check my work. No. There's an essay I saw that I love so much. I don't know where it is. Well, let me correct the next one though. All right. So next to it is this one. Illicit drugs like heroin, cocaine are the most used. Mm. Illicit drugs. Wow, this statement is confusing. But why twist English when you can at least say it straightforward and get your mark and go? Mm? The use of illicit drug is on the increase in many countries. The use of illicit drugs, like if you want to mention them as the question mentioned them, is on the increase, or there's a high rate. Just make sure you talk about the increase, okay, because it's more and more. Talk about the rate, whether it is high or it is low. It's saying that it is high and it has increased. So the rate is high, okay, or there's an increase in the use of illicit drug in many countries, in many nations, in many societies. All right. This essay will discuss the problem and solution to this effect. Wow. This essay will discuss the problem and solution. So is there no other word? Can you get synonyms for problem and solution? Because that's what the question used. I like you to use more vocabularies, like getting more synonyms for these things. I remember I told us at the beginning of the writing task too, that when I listed the kind of questions, I mean the question areas that you will find, drug abuse was one of them. Remember, right? Drug abuse was there. So I expect us to have 20 vocabularies each for these things, and ensure that you are using these vocabularies in the right context. In the right context. Currently, what we are discussing has to do with drugs like cocaine and heroin. These are drugs that make people high, isn't it? They intoxicate. Yeah? It's not paracetamol. We're not talking about self-medication, paracetamol, the use of indiscriminate use of antibiotics and the rest, which is drug abuse. But here, it is well with this signal this evening. It's just been misbehaving and misbehaving. So I was trying to explain that you should be thinking of what they look like. What about their physical appearance? What about the fact that they can't keep their monies? People, they lose relationships, isn't it? They can't keep a job. They sell what they have because they want to, like use this all their monies to buy this drug. They can't stay without it. They are addicted to these medications and they must use them. If not, they can't stay. Sleep insomnia, that is a very terrible one again. So when I need you to, when I was telling us about the structure, when you are structuring your essays, I told us about the steps, I remember, and I said in planning your essay, you decide your kind of response. What kind of response are you expected to give? Yes, this is just answers in talking about self-medications and all of that. You should tell me about the fact that This is terrible. Okay. So I was saying, that you need to know your specific answer. All right. You need to know, plan your question, your answers very well. I keep going in and illegal drug use is a practice of consuming drugs that are detrimental to the health of an individual, especially when consumed more than required. Once it is illegal, it is illegal. No required or required. So illegal, and you are telling me that required. So you need to be careful. We already know that various problems arise. You see, you will waste your time when you do this. I told us that the IELTS tutors or IELTS examiners, they are not looking out for you to define anything for them. Don't go about definition of. When you have a problem and solution, a cause and effect, a two-question essay like this, go straight to the point. They say problems and then solution. They are not asking you what is illegal use of. So what are the problems associated with illegal use of these drugs? So go ahead and tell them what problems you can see. You don't need to define, and you're wasting your time. Okay, and then you may make mistake in that definition, wrong use of words, wrong choice of words, wrong sentencing or paragraphing. At the end of the day, they deduct your mark for something that you are not even asked in the first place. And some examiners will just do OP out of point. This is not what they have asked you. So by the time you have used 20, 50 words in the please, various problems arise. They know that problems there are problems. That's why they've asked you what these problems are and what are your own solutions to these problems. So go ahead and tell me what the problem is. Now you said increase in blood pressure, alteration of biochemical amines in the brain leading to different psychotic experiences such as depression, overactivity, loss of contact with reality, hallucinations. You can actually group this thing under mental health or sick conditions, and it will cover kind of another point. Because if you are telling me I'm not going to take hallucination as a point, as a social problems like rape and stealing. So now, are you choosing rape or at the end of the day, now I have 3 paragraphs. I mean 3 here. So do you have 3 solutions for this? If you had said although, then I can agree with how are bringing your reasons. Okay, these are my reasons. Number one of them is mental health issues. Another one is stealing, rape. So he can do this and this. Furthermore, rape. I mean, in addition, you can link them up with those cohesive devices, all right? And you get your point. That's what I want you to do. That's what I want. There's no cohesion. There's no cohesion between the answers that you're giving. At the end, you have not done a quality job. All right? And now these problems can be solved by banning importation and use of these drugs, okay? Family teach their children various methods of dealing with stress. You didn't the network is so bad. You did about the problem and you are giving a solution. Where did you get the problem from? You should talk about sleep insomnia or other problems first before you come and please, you need to work on that. Let me see. I've not seen your conclusion though. Families can teach their children various methods of dealing with stress and pain. So you should have said that people use it to deal with stress and pain from the beginning. Then you can give me the solution and I will accept it. All right. So in conclusion, the use of drugs of abuse. I don't get it. Where are you getting drug abuse? Illicit drug use, indiscriminate use of drugs, the use of drugs of abuse. I mean, what is drugs of abuse? Every drug can be abused. Do you understand? Yeah. In conclusion, okay, which results in various health like respiratory disease. You didn't mention this and you are coming to conclude with them. I hope you understand what I'm saying, Sandra. You need to mention them before you talk about there was no mention of any respiratory disorder or drowsiness. So now you have many points. That's why you need to bring your points together, organize your, all right? Choose your best points, please. And discuss, write about it. I already explained that what you wrote about as your problem, you should profile solution to those. And in your conclusion, sum up the problem and the solution. Let me see the next one. The use of unauthorized substances like heroin, okay, becoming more frequent in many nations. Nations is an S, there's no apostrophe. It's just the S, nations. This essay will discuss both the problems associated with the substance abuse and the possible remedies. I want you to get more synonyms. Yes, you have done a good job. The introduction is complete, but I need you to use more synonyms. Don't use the words more of the words that your examiner have used is what you have used there. I wish you can get synonyms for them. This will increase your vocabulary and it will give you a good score. The abuse of unauthorized substance. Are there no other words for that? Try to get more words, okay? Undoubtedly has been on the increase in recent times, especially in developing countries. And this has resulted into numerous problems. For instance, in a nation, you have not given me a problem and you are saying, for instance, please tell me the crime rate first, increase in crime rate, okay? Then, for instance, do you get the point? Do you understand? State the problem before you give me the instance or the example. When you state the problem, then you can go ahead and explain in your exam. So she's talking about increase in crime rate. Okay, they start lagging behind in studies, okay? So there's reduction in attention in class, and then at the end, they drop out in school. Some go into cultism, okay, constituting nuisance in the school. Furthermore, abuse of is detrimental to health. So you have talked about them dropping or lagging behind in school. You have talked about increase in crime rates. You have talked about their physical health as well. All right. Let me go and look for your solution. This is actually what many examiners do. So where are your solutions to these problems? See, when I can't find, okay, yeah. However, the use of unauthorized can be curtailed. However, however, the use of however, I'm not comfortable with it. The use of the abuse of unauthorized substance. You need to get other words, like I said. It can be curtailed to the barest minimum. There are solutions to these issues, to these challenges, to these problems. To begin with, punishment should be meted out to anyone caught abusing these drugs, okay? Punishment should be meted out. So first of all, a law has to be enacted before punishment can now be meted out to people, to offenders. Then awareness, okay? And what else? In addition, they must be used within strict good prescriptions for medical use only. All right, so conclusively, the abuse of such as heroin has become frequent and unfortunately has led to increased crime rates, health deteriorations, both physical and mentally, and what else? Substance government and you didn't say, okay, that's fine. You didn't mention your your other point. You had 3 points and you had 3 solutions, and now you have summarized 2 of them. It's okay, but where is your solution in this summary? Okay, prescription only. I need you, how many words? This must be up to 400 words. I need you to cut off some of these sentences that are not necessary. Are you sleeping? Chinwe, are you sleeping? Oh dear. I know you watch this again. Or you can't even hear me. Can you hear me? Can people hear me in this class?
Yes, we can hear you, ma.
It's fine. That's fine. So yes, you need to cut down some
Yes,
of
ma, we can hear you, ma.
words. There is an increase in the intake of illegal drugs like heroin and cocaine in many nations. Like everything is lagging behind. This essay with this and will profile solution, preferred solution, and their solution. This preferred, I don't know what preferred is doing there. I hope you are not thinking about profile and you are writing preferred. This is a wrong use of word in this context, okay? Please go straight to the point. Olebube, go straight to the point. Your points are there, but like I corrected the other person before you, going about, beating about the bush is not going to help. This will make your words too many, and at the end of the day, your points will be hidden in it. Your examiner may not be too patient to start looking for your points, and then you may have wrong use of words, sentencing, and at the end, grammatical range and accuracy will be you will score a reduced mark, you will score small mark for that, and you may not get your score. These problems listed above can be sorted out by making sure that there will be a routine checkup for young people. Every young person has a tendency to abuse drugs. So association matters a lot, okay? Association matters a lot. Then rehabilitation for those affected, and the government should enact more rules or laws, okay, to stop the abuse. To conclude, there's an increase in illegal like heroin. To conclude, just tell me what the problems are and the solution. Don't go about saying the same words again. 251 words, 35 minutes. You didn't have the right words. That's why your words are few. You need to write this again if you can. If you don't mind, you can rewrite it based on this correction and send it to the Telegram group. I'm not promising, but I may be able to correct some work or speak with you personally if I see the need to. Okay. I like this person's work is still coming. There should be advertisement of the effect. Social media, billboards, good. It helps to create awareness. So where's your conclusion? That's what I want to see. Is this the conclusion? Where's the rest of the essay then? In recent times, the excessive use of some hard substance like this, there are some side effects and that occur with abuse of these substances, this THESE. This essay will state the effects. You are not stating the effects, you are discussing it. When you state, it means you just say them point. But here you're discussing, okay? Your essay will discuss the effects and possibilities. Yeah? And possibly, no. And possible ways to prevent them. Possible ways. So you say possibly. Wait, it means that if you say, if I interpret this now, and possibly ways to prevent misuse, it means that you may or you may not write about the prevention or the solution. That's the way I will interpret it. So it has to be possible. Why E and not Y. Okay, so I'm sure that for those that I can't, can you hear me? Can you people hear me now? Can you, Blessing, can you hear me now? You wrote something. I just got to see it. You
I can
can
hear you
hear
now.
me now, right?
Yes, ma, I can hear you. Thank you.
I think the network this evening is not so friendly. It was raining here at some point, so even my phone signal is having some small issues. I know I've not read everybody's work. Well, I can't even identify which I have not read. Okay, I think I've finished. If you didn't write anything, I'm sure you must have learned something. To bring yourself, up to date with this class of today, in case you don't understand what we're doing or what's happening, I think it's better for you to go back to our last two classes. The two classes were on writing task 2. We have done opinion, and most of the things that we're discussing today, we have said them there. So I'm just more like jumping over things because I assume that you should have, heard or known about them. Like, for instance, some of the rules in the class, like when you write your essay, the number of words and the time that you have spent. And then on the format of writing, the format is the same, but the content is different. The content is dependent on the kind of question that you have. Just by way of summary, writing task 2, two question essay is what we have done today. And we talked about the structure of the writing task 2 generally, which is the same for any question type in writing task 2, but the content of that structure is what differentiates what type of question from what, as in one from the other. All right, so for tonight's class, we have done 2 question essay, and based on that, the structure, the introduction is just a paraphrase of your question prompt and a specific statement. The specific statement is where you are telling us about what your task is. The task is asking you to discuss the problem and the solution. All right, it's a 2-question essay. And then in your first body paragraph, you are going to be talking about one side, and then second body paragraph, the other side of it, which is, it could be the advantages and then the other side disadvantages. This evening's class, or the question before us. The first body paragraph is talking about the problems that are associated with drug abuse, while the second part, which is the second body paragraph, is going to be talking about solutions. Then your conclusion should be a summary of the problem and the solution, really. That's just all you need to do when it comes to 2-question essay. Okay, 2-question essay is what some people call problem solution, but it's not always problem with cause and effect. So I will not want to call it a problem solution. It is called a 2-question essay where you are asked 2 different So in the absence of any question tonight, because our time is fast spent, the network is misbehaving and all of that, we may have a rephrase. We may have a rephrase of this class in a way. I may want to, jot in 1 or 2 points, send it to the Telegram group. If I've not seen your work, you can send it to the Telegram group. And if I've asked you to redo it, or for your own good, you may just decide to practice it next week. Network is really, really misbehaving. You can pop it up on the Telegram group and we'll answer it.